The evening at the prestigious Le Jardin Royal Hotel was a sight to behold. Its grand ballroom shimmered under the soft glow of chandeliers, their crystal drops refracting the light in intricate patterns across the elegantly decorated walls. The air was thick with anticipation as the event, a gala held to support underprivileged children, slowly unfolded. Guests, all decked out in formal attire, mingled over champagne, their conversations a symphony of political banter, artistic debates, and business discussions. Among them was a crowd of high-powered executives, celebrities, and intellectuals, all united under the banner of charity. At the far end of the room, slightly out of sight from the spotlight, sat Baron Trump. At 18, his tall frame, paired with his composed expression, immediately drew the eye, though not intentionally. His invitation had come from an old friend of the family, a gesture to expose him to a different social circle. He wasn't much for the crowd, preferring instead to stay in the background and observe. But tonight, he had unknowingly become the center of attention. The evening's keynote speaker, a renowned political commentator with a reputation for stirring controversy, took the stage. Known for their sharp-tongued humor, they had built a name by challenging the status quo, often with biting criticism of public figures. This night, however, they seemed more eager than usual to push the boundaries, an excitement palpable in their step as they approached the podium. What followed was unexpected, as the journalist quickly shifted from light-hearted anecdotes to more pointed commentary, targeting well-known political figures with their usual satirical edge. The crowd, divided as ever, responded with laughter and some uneasy glances. It wasn't long before the focus turned toward the Trump family, and more specifically, Barron. The journalist, relishing the moment, made a joke at his expense. "Let's talk about the next generation," they said with a mock sigh. "You know, the one who's grown up in a world of privilege and inherited wealth. Imagine what that must do to your character." The room fell silent, and all eyes shifted to Barron, his face a study in calmness. He didn't flinch, nor did his posture waver. The tension was palpable, the moment pregnant with expectation. It was as though the entire room was waiting for him to react. Would he snap? Would he storm off? No one could predict what would come next, but Barron did nothing. Not a flicker of emotion crossed his face. He remained seated, his hands resting gently on his lap, his blue eyes steady and unwavering. It wasn't that he was indifferent. It was something else, something deeper. The journalist, sensing the discomfort in the room, attempted to salvage the situation with a nervous laugh, but the damage had been done. Barron, undisturbed, slowly stood up. The soft scrape of his chair against the polished floor was the only sound that cut through the thickening tension. As he moved toward the stage, the entire room seemed to hold its breath, not sure what to expect. At the podium, the journalist stood frozen, their earlier confidence evaporating under Barron's unflinching gaze. The room was still. It was as if the world had paused. Barron reached the edge of the stage, his gaze locking with the journalist's, and with a calmness that sent ripples through the crowd, he spoke. "Thank you for your perspective," he began, his voice firm but devoid of anger. The simplicity of his words cut through the room like a sharp, clean knife. "I've heard many things about myself, some true, some not, but I'm not here to debate that." The crowd shifted, the weight of his words settling in. He wasn't angry. He wasn't trying to incite a fight. His demeanor was controlled, composed, but undeniably powerful. "I've spent my life in the public eye," Barron continued, his voice steady. And I've learned that it's easy for people to talk about you when they don't know you. But I think it's time we all remember that words carry weight, and when we use them to tear others down, we risk losing something very important: humanity. He paused, letting the silence wash over the crowd. We live in a time when it's easy to forget that the people we criticize are real. They have their own stories, their own struggles. And that includes me, just like everyone else. The journalist stood speechless, their smirk long gone. Barron didn't raise his voice, nor did he need to. His message, clear and direct, resonated throughout the room, leaving a lingering sense of reflection that no amount of humor could undo. Barron took a step back, his gaze shifting from the journalist to the audience. I believe in respect, not as something that's earned, but as something that should be given freely, especially when you don't know the full story. With that, he turned and walked back to his seat, leaving behind a stunned, silent room. The applause didn't come immediately, but when it did, it was slow at first, hesitant, as if the audience was processing the impact of what they had just witnessed. Then, in a wave, the clapping grew, and soon the entire ballroom was on its feet. It was not the thunderous applause that followed the journalist's speech. It wasn't about who had won the night. It was about something deeper, something that transcended the moment. Barron's words, delivered with such grace, had made it clear: respect isn't a game, and humanity shouldn't be a joke. As Barron sat back down, still composed, the applause continued. It wasn't just admiration for a young man who had handled an uncomfortable situation with poise. It was a recognition of something universal: the power of words, the need for empathy, and the importance of standing firm in your convictions. Within hours, the moment was everywhere, on social media, in news outlets, and across online platforms. People from all walks of life shared their thoughts. Some praised Barron for his maturity. Others debated the ethics of the journalist's remarks. But no one could deny the undeniable truth that Barron Trump had reminded us all of something important: that respect, dignity, and empathy are always worth standing up for, even in the most unexpected of places. In the days that followed, the incident sparked conversations in classrooms, offices, and dinner tables around the world. And as the dust settled, it became clear that this was a moment for reflection, one that challenged everyone to reconsider how they use their words and how they treat those they may not fully understand. If this story moved you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to stay updated with more powerful stories that inspire change and growth. We all have the power to choose empathy and respect. Let's make it a part of every conversation. Join the discussion and share your thoughts with us. Together, we can make a difference.